It was a mystery that baffled scientists for more than a decade. What caused hepatitis C, a potentially fatal virus which threatened the world's blood supplies? In 1989, to great acclaim, the US-based Chiron Corporation announced it had identified and isolated how the virus worked. But now Chiron is under attack. The Australian Patent Office has given the company exclusive rights over the virus here and over any cure it may develop. This in stark contrast to the United States, where authorities have refused to grant any such patent. Critics say Chiron is trying to get a worldwide monopoly on the detection, treatment and cure of hepatitis C. And they're alarmed that private ownership of this or any other disease will not promote research, but stifle it. Sunday's Paul Ransley has our report.
Hepatitis C may infect up to 160,000 Australians. The virus is transmitted in blood or blood products. It may lie dormant for 20 to 25 years, but eventually it surfaces. It will often attack the liver and kill. For many years, medical researchers were united in their fight against the virus. Recently, though, they've turned on each other. The battleground is no longer the laboratory, it's the courtroom. The combatants aren't scientists, they're lawyers.
We have patents being granted over viruses so that corporations are owning viruses that affect the community. And that, to my personal way of thinking, is just wrong.
Chiron made a significant invention back in 1987 after expenditure of considerable resources. Everybody else is really just copying Chiron's technology.
At issue was an Australian patent granted to the US-based Chiron Corporation to protect its discovery of the hepatitis C virus. According to some lawyers and scientists, that gives Chiron a franchise over the virus that damages the public interest.
When you've got such a broad patent as this patent is, then they've got a virtual monopoly on the whole development process, including diagnosis, vaccines and therapy. And that really makes it prohibitive, I think, for other people to come in and do work in those areas.
There's no doubt that Chiron's breakthrough was big. Hepatitis C posed a major threat to the world's blood banks because no one knew how to identify it. Chiron spent millions of dollars in research, and the process by which it finally identified the virus's genomic sequence forms the crux of the patent. In simple terms, they took plasma from chimpanzees infected with the virus. A tiny strand of RNA was extracted and cloned into a DNA copy, which in turn was amplified 1,000,000-fold. The DNA clones were then screened with antibodies from humans with Hep C. 1 out of 1,000,000 was found to match. The Hep C virus had been discovered. The company then developed a diagnostic kit and set about patenting the process and the chemical compounds the process produced, calling it an invention.
To me, there was no great invention. It was quite obvious that if you had the right specimens and applied the right tests, you would discover hepatitis C virus.
That view will be put to a court by another North American company called Murex, which following Chiron's breakthrough developed its own diagnostic kit and is demanding a share of a lucrative market. Murex hired Yves Hazan to challenge the patent.
Our argument is that by identifying the genetic sequence of a virus, there is no invention occurring, there is simply a discovery. The virus is naturally occurring.
Lawyer Dr. Bill Pickering represents Chiron.
The chemical compounds are not naturally occurring in a form which is usable by the public or usable by anybody. What the patent does is provide them in a form which can be used in these test kits, which enable us to screen the blood.
So where did these chemicals come from?
The chemicals were present, but they're in a mixed soup, just not in a form which is pure enough to be able to be used. What Chiron were able to do, and what their invention was the discovery and the isolation of these novel, unique chemicals.
Everyone accepts that Chiron should reap substantial reward for the development of the diagnostic kits, but competitors argue the patent is far too restrictive. Chiron owns the rights to the polypeptides or proteins which form the outer shell of the virus. It owns the polynucleotides, the genetic material at the virus's core. It owns rights to a vaccine, to the tissue culture from which the virus is artificially produced, and the virus in a purified form.
Anything that uses the virus, for example, a diagnostic kit, a vaccine or a cure, before it can be used or commercialised, must obtain Chiron's approval to do it.
The patent doesn't cover cures to hepatitis C at all. The patent provides the information for people to conduct research to develop cures, and that research itself is not an infringement.
To my understanding, there is no vaccine for hepatitis C, so the patent is actually an amber claim on something that doesn't even exist.
But Dr. Pickering reveals that Chiron is on the verge of producing a vaccine.
The vaccine is at the moment in preclinical trials. There's been scientific publications concerning those trials. At the moment, those trials are looking very optimistic.
But what happens if Chiron's vaccine is no good? Some scientists argue the patent discourages them from seeking alternatives. Dr. Loccanini says a hepatitis C project he'd planned was abandoned after a likely investor, on hearing of the patent, withdrew.
They were nervous because they didn't know what effect that would have on any work that we had or had developed in our own study, and what effect or what level they would exercise of their claim.
And criticism that publication of Chiron's life-saving breakthrough was delayed for 18 months while it waited for a patent is rejected by Dr. Pickering.
Chiron got their test kit, the first generation kit, to market as quick as any product has ever been brought to market in the test kit area. There was very, very little delay, if any.
We don't believe that living organisms should be the subject of patents.
Bob Phelps from the Australian Conservation Foundation argues it's time for the government to change the rules that relate to living organisms.
They exist in their own right in the environment, and to tie these up and to put them from public into personal ownership is quite inappropriate. This is appropriation of public property, really.
Well, I think that they underestimate the costs of research and development. It's important, if we're going to encourage people to undertake research and development, that we should reward them sufficiently to provide that financial inducement.
And that's what it all boils down to: money. Public interest takes a back seat compared with the millions of dollars to be made from the detection and treatment of hepatitis C.
At the end of the day, Chiron were the first there. It was innovative, it was breakthrough stuff. People have tried to copy, and that's what the present court case is now about.
Paul Ransley with that report.